Welcome to Body Hack and Build a Better You, the podcast where we unlock the secret to living a longer, healthier life and create a bloom zone in our life and within our family. I'm your host, Michaela Morell, and I'm here to provide you with the tools and knowledge to empower you to build a better you, one essential building block at a time. Did you know that kids that are snacking are often having a higher intake of more unhealthy empty calories and are struggling with more malnutrition, gut issues, and more inflammation versus kids that don't snack? In today's episode, I'm going to talk about why our kids are craving snacks. If you're craving snacks yourself, just know that this information will be good for you too. I will explain everything from how our gut bacteria, the amount of parasites, and how different types of food are either making us crave more snacks or keeping us full longer, preventing us to crave snacks. And best part, you will get tools you can start implementing directly into your life today with things you already have at home. I want to remind you that this podcast is for educational entertainment purposes only. Read the disclaimer in the show notes. And I also want to remind you to always consult your healthcare provider if you plan to make any dietary changes. Let's dive in. So tonight, I was out playing pickleball, and I got an interesting question from a concerned mom, and she was curious what I would do. So the question was, Michaela, my kids are struggling with their nutrition. They only want to snack. They hardly don't want to eat any food. What can I do? So today, I want to help you if you have a child that loves snacking, to help you understand why is this child craving a snack and what can we do about it? So first of all, I want to talk about snacks in general and ingredients. So a good rule I usually implement with people is we never want to eat anything that have more than 5 ingredients, and we need to be able to understand those ingredients. And if we are not understanding what the ingredients are, it's not food that is food, it's fake food. If you're not able to understand, your body is not going to be able to understand it either. We are humans that was developed on a diet that was simple. We ate simple, boring foods, and that is what our body have been developed with. That's where our DNA is thriving when we keep it simple. We don't need 500 different things going into our body every day. The only thing we really need is all the essential vitamins, all the essential minerals, all the essential fatty acids, and all the essential proteins. Those are essential. It means that we cannot live without it. We cannot produce it. We need to get it into our system either through eating it or through supplementing with it. If we're not able to get that into our system is not going to be able to function as optimally as we would like it to function. So when we're going back then to what can one cause of your child craving a snack? Well, first of all, most snacks get converted into our body. Most snacks get converted into pure sugar. And when we are eating the snack, it's going to trigger us to feel happy. And we're going to want it again and again and again. And what is also happening when we're looking at the blood sugar levels is that the more sugar we eat, the more we spike our insulin. And when that one goes down then, because we're taking care of all the sugar, it can go too fast and we crave sugar again because we're having a dip. So we're craving it again. So blood sugar levels definitely play a role into if our kids wants to snack a lot. Then we can go into the fact that if we're craving a lot of sugar, it can usually be an imbalance in our microbiome. We can have too many of the bacteria that is craving sugar, and usually they are bad gut bacteria. So it's not always even our brain talking, it's the bacteria screaming to our brain, eat more sugar, eat more sugar. We're dying otherwise. And our brain thinks that we are dying unless we're getting sugar. And it's a very strong urge to feed them because otherwise they're dying. They're very, very good at convincing us that eating sugar is the smartest thing we can do. So that is one aspect of having the craving is the blood sugar and the microbiome. So if we have poor gut health, we're going to crave more sugar. Then we can also talk about parasites. We're going to do whole episodes about poops and parasites. But if your child is also craving a lot of sugar, it can be parasites or it can even be candida. So those are some things you also want to look into and eliminate. The best way to reduce the parasites and the candida and your microbiome, your bad gut bacteria, is simply by cutting sugar, but it can be hard. So today I want to give you a couple of tools you can use to stabilize your blood sugar levels and to not crave as much snacks in between meals. So in order for you to understand what we can do, you have to understand that when we're eating food, carbohydrates, they are not essential, but they can be a great source of energy, of fuel. But a lot of the carbohydrates we're eating, they're going through our body way too fast and are spiking our insulin levels way too fast. So if you eat a whole bowl of pasta, it can just go straight through in 2 hours. It's in your stomach and then it's out. And the energy levels from eating pasta, for example, or a piece of bread, the energy levels usually like you get a lot of energy and then it crashes. And then you have the need for another snack. But here is some tricks for you. What can we do? So the body is very efficient in breaking down carbohydrates and absorb them. The body is not so efficient to break down proteins, and it's even less efficient in breaking down fats. So it takes longer time. So if we're pairing our what we're eating with proteins and then with fats, it's going to take a longer period of time for breaking it down. And protein and carbs, they both get absorbed through our bloodstream, but the fats need to be absorbed through our lymphatic system. And when we're absorbing the fats, they need to be broken down into very small particles. And it takes longer time for the fat to be absorbed into our body. So whenever the body feels, uh-oh, they're eating a lot of fat, they send signals up to our brain to digest the food slower. That is why you might have been on a Thanksgiving dinner. You have been eating lots of turkey, which is protein. You have been eating lots of gravy and mashed potatoes that was filled with butter. And you have been having a big feast with lots of butter, with lots of protein. And after that Thanksgiving dinner, it's hard to fit that pie in because you are so full. And if you're like me, skipping the pie, you might feel that you're full all afternoon and all evening. You don't have to barely eat breakfast. It's thanks to all the fats because the fat content make you break down the food slower. You're digesting it slower. And when you're doing it slower, your blood sugar levels will be more stable. So, what can we do if our kids want to snack all the time? Well, start feeding them when you're feeding them, start giving them more fats. You can add extra butter, you can add extra coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil on top of it, drizzle it. And the more fats you're adding, the longer it's going to take for the child to feel hunger again. This is one of the reasons why I always give my kids full fat products. I never do low fat. It's always pure butter. It's always the highest content of fat, if they eat cottage cheese, if they are eating plain yogurt, I'm always aiming for the highest fat. And when they're drinking milk, whole milk. And that way, my kids have never really wanted to snack. We can go for road trips if they have had a good breakfast before. They are not hungry until we're eating lunch. They're used to eat 3 meals to 4 meals a day, and they don't really snack in between. If I feel like they are more hungry than normal, I just give them more proteins and more fats with the next meal. And yes, it can be an adjustment period because a lot of us have been taught to not use butter and to reduce our protein intake. But both of those are so important for so many functions in our body. Everything from the brain development with our children to be able to develop hormones normally. Because what are hormones built up with? They're built up with protein. And if we're not eating enough of protein, we are maybe not going to have functioning hormonal systems. But we're going to talk about hormones another time. But when we're then looking at our kids, snacking, one way of also avoiding them to snack on unhealthy things is to simply not buy it. Just have healthy alternatives at home, things that have less than 5 ingredients, preferably just whole foods. Put out a basket full of fruit. Have lots of berries in your refrigerator. Make sure that you have full fat products and keep it simple. I love simple. My kids know that I usually cook a big batch of pulled chicken, for example, in the slow cooker. And we always have meat available and protein sources available in our refrigerator pre-made. So if we need to rush out the door, we always have something healthy that we can whip up very, very quickly because I love to cook a lot when I cook. So I only have to cook a few times a week. I do enjoy cooking, but it's just about the time. The time being a parent of three, lots of after school activities, hectic life, your business, your work, and so on. Anyway, so if you have kids, think of those things. If your kid is snacking, add more fats and protein. If they are still craving lots of sugar and you can't really handle it, you might want to look into candida or parasites. And also, sometimes we just have to focus on the gut health and heal their leaky gut. Also, take a look over how many carbs is your child eating every single day. How many starches? Look at that because we should mainly get fats and protein into our body, and the starches should be limited. The carbs should be from fruit mainly. And if we do that, the kids are going to ask for less snacks and they're going to be more content in between meals. Their blood sugar levels will be more stable and they will be a more balanced individual. So I hope these tips help you if you're a parent. If it did, please share it with someone else that is a parent as well. I know that there's a lot of kids out there that we all can help improve their gut health and help them get more balanced. And you know what? You being here tells me that you want to learn as much as possible, either to help yourself or help your child or children. And I salute you for being here today and learning about how what we're eating affects the time it takes for the food to be absorbed in our system. And I am proud over you. And I hope to see you in the next episode. See ya. If you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to do one thing for me. Think of one person you want to share this podcast with and copy the link and send it right away. Thanks for playing an important role in the Blue Zone community. And if you want to keep on building a better you, one essential building block at a time, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next episode.